What is something that really freaks you out on an existential level? Looking at the old photos of my ancestors that my great-uncle left me. I have no idea who any of the people in them are, but a lot of them look kinda like me. Or vice versa really. It's fucking weird thinking about all the people who've lived and died and left really no legacy at all. Forgotten. And knowing I'll be forgotten too. Probably less than even 50 years after I die. It's sobering and makes me realize there is really no use trying to live a life I don't enjoy. If I don't like my job, I should quit. If I want to live somewhere else, I should just go there. Tomorrow is guaranteed to no one. Upside, they likely had embarrassing moments that kept them up at night, but you have no idea what it was. Your embarrassment will also be lost to time. How you can trace the whole path of your life to some small, seemingly inconsequential event. Decades ago, when I was new to this area, I met a guy on the golf course and we became friends. I met others throughout him, and now 90% of my friends and contacts can be traced back to that meeting. If I had not golfed that day, or got one extra red light on the way to the course, would I have a whole separate set of friends now? Great one. I needed 3 C's to go to a university in London. I was ill for my exams, and complacent, and got C.D. so went to the University of Manchester. My children literally wouldn't exist if I had studied a bit harder at computer science. That every public institution, every province of government, every law of any nation, it all works because a sufficiently high percentage of people silently assent that it does. It doesn't matter what type of government is in place. If 70% of the population woke up tomorrow and decided that currency has no value and governance is unnecessary, that's exactly what would happen. That the tiniest, most inconsequential decision can completely change the entire course of your life. Nearly 20 years ago, I needed some new shoes for work. As a poor student, I got the cheapest pair I could find. 2 days later, I was supposed to be going straight from work to a club with my friends when, halfway through my shift, the sole half ripped off one of the shoes. I didn't have enough time to get home, change my shoes and get back to work before everyone left for the club. So I just went home and gave it a miss. That night, I started chatting with someone on a forum. A year later, went to visit them in America. 2 years later I moved to America and we got married. 10 years after that we both moved back to the UK. Had I chosen a different pair of shoes, I'd never met my wife, never moved to America, and my life would be completely different now. Because shoes, guess you could say she's your soulmate. How much quicker time goes by as you get older. Remember when you were 5, and a summer vacation felt like a whole lifetime? I just want to be a kid again. Life is like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it goes. The fact that I will never know how things turn out, what becomes of the world once I'm gone. I only understand life as the version I've lived. I never get to know the future, unless you get born into another consciousness into the future. But unfortunately, you won't remember your past life to appreciate this fact, that whatever I did in the past are now just memories. Even yesterday, even though sometimes it feels like my childhood just happened, it was 20 years ago in their memories. Did those actions even happen? It's hard to explain the feeling. My dad died 21 years ago. It was well before the age of camera phones, and he really didn't like having his picture taken. Regardless, as a result, I have maybe 2 pictures of Hi Monsieur. I think I still have a mental picture of him, but sometimes I'm not so sure. He was one of the most significant people in my life, and his death is one of the most significant events in my life. But honestly, there's a good chance that if he walked up to me today, I wouldn't recognize Hi Monsieur. Every so often I'll see myself in a mirror and am reminded that I am a conscious person able to influence the world around me. Sometimes I get so hung up on the daily routines and the little challenges here and there that I forget that I am a mind connected to a physical body. It's fucking surreal for a few seconds, but then I realize that it's always been like this. Edit. Thank you for the gold. I totally did not think this happened to other people. I feel this way when I'm out in public sometimes. Suddenly realizing asterisk I'm actually physically real and interacting with the world. Everyone around can see me, asterisk. For some reason this trips me the fuck out. To think that other people can observe my physical existence. I forget that I'm not in my own world sometimes. Edit. My first gold. Thank you, kind stranger. Okay, so most adults have at least some concept of the vastness of the universe. Each of us contains an almost unbelievable wealth of knowledge in our brains. They are essentially a universe unto themselves. Yet we can come into contact with another person in a matter of seconds, boil their entire existence down to, well, he's an asshole, but he is. He fucking merged without his blinker. Edit. Fuck yeah dude, now I have more karma than my girlfriend. Thanks guys. Edit 2. Leave poor anal joke man alone, he doesn't deserve your downvotes. That it's a strong possibility I'll be alone with no family by the time I die. All my friends are married and having kids. And I'm just here like whelp. Maybe I'll try dating again. People say life isn't a race. But if you aren't at the same pace as everyone else when they leave you behind for their own lives, then it's not really a race anymore. Is it? You just kind of hobble for a decade, then cry at intersections when a red light takes too long. Greater than cry at intersections when a red light takes too long. Oh fuck, too real. This thread. Thanks for the multi-tiered existential crisis at work. Boss. Is that report going to be done by 3? Quote. Me. What does it matter? Words and numbers. They have no meaning except what our brains provide. And us? We're just 2 bags of meat and bones and blood, blowing air through our throat holes, making sounds at each other. And you are literally walking around with a sack of shit inside of you. So am I. So is everyone here. We are on the 8th floor of a 15-story building. All day there is shit raining down around us from the floors above. This building is a giant cascading tower of shit. All day long. Boss. Why don't you forward that report to me before sending it out? Might be best if I give it a quick review. But what if we're all in a fictional universe? What if we're in a fictional dramatization of a summary of an AskReddit thread 1 metaverse up? Quote. P. Shaw. That's quite unlikely. But how could we know? Quote. You've still gotta do that report. It takes a, admittedly microscopic, amount of time for your brain to process every stimulus that you receive. This means that you are never perceiving reality in real time. There's the slightest delay between reality and your perception of it. What's worse is that your brain lies to you and tries to trick you about it. Find a clock with a second hand. Look away. Now look right at it. See, the second hand takes just a little longer to move that first second than all the other seconds that come after. That's because your first glimpse of the hand moving is blurry. So your brain waits for it to be in focus, copies that frame, and pastes it backwards instead of the blur. Your brain literally pauses time to make things look how you'd expect it to look. If it's lying about that, what else is it lying about? If we let our brains get too smart, they will start taking over our bodies. I was in the shower the other night and I lifted up my leg. And I wondered, how do I know how to lift up my leg? This shit always fucked me up as a kid, like how can I move my body parts? How we could die at any second. Today. Tomorrow, in a week, in the next 5 minutes. And nobody can stop it. Death is one of the true guarantees of life. I'm not sure what's worse, knowing you're dying, or dying without knowing it. Everything is disintegrating. Nothing is as immortal. The television remote on the coffee table will not be a television remote in enough time. Even if that means thousands of years have to pass before it loses its intended for monsieur. That's entropy. Jazz hands. Why am I seeing through this set of eyes? Why am I me? Why am I not that person over there? I could have been anyone. Why is this consciousness in this body? Maybe nobody else is real. Edit. Rip my inbox of people trying to explain I and consciousness and brains, none of which answers the question. Edit 2. Yes, I've read The Egg. And a lot of people are way overthinking my question. What if you're every person at the same time? And in each person you're wondering why you're that particular person. Edit. Well, thank you for the gold. We absolutely are. Why am I me? I cannot see exactly who I'm meant to be. And if I'm me, and you are you, then how and what, and why and who, and where am I? And am I real? I speak, I dream, I think, I feel, I think I feel. But do I though? Perhaps I do. Or maybe, no. The only thing that's plain to see is I don't know if me is me. For some reason I started reading this in the cadence to the song Dumb by Nirvana. And it just kinda worked. Thanks for that. Knowledge lost. Societies that existed millennia before ours had incredibly complex social structures, massive infrastructure, built incredible wonders, understood boggling amounts of modern math, and did it all in harsher conditions with less technology. So clearly they were smart and capable. At least some. Imagine all the great knowledge that they had, which we lost, all the theorems or observations they made in societies that lasted 10 times as long as many of today's, which disappeared in war or accident. Knowledge defines man. We are a species of filers, who wish to make pattern and sense out of chaos. Yet knowledge is so very fragile. It messes me up that people 1,000 years ago were just as capable to learn what we are now. A kid from early Rome could go to school in 2018 and be just as smart as everyone else. I always realize the enormity of the universe when checking my mailbox. Walk down my driveway, mostly zoning out. My mailbox is across the street in the neighbor's front yard for some fucking reason. So I fart across the street, and it's always then that I look up and see the moon or the stars and just feel hilariously ridiculous. Somehow the enormity of the universe stands out even more to me when I'm pitting it against two spam credit card offers, an excise tax bill, and the grocery store flyer I throw out before even getting back in the house. It's just impossible to reconcile. All of the planets known to man fit between me and this space rock. I am a tiny speck, floating on a slightly less tiny speck, hurling wildly through the void of space. And hey, bone and pork chops are $1.99 a pound. Neat. Edit. Hey, neat. Thanks. Also, I guess enormity doesn't mean enormousness like I assumed. So I learned something today. I too occasionally fart across the street. I probably won't be remembered. On a long enough scale, none of us will. I'm gonna try answering with a positive twist. Death, life, and time are interchangeably meaningless. You can be dead and continue to exist, influencing the living in a manner indistinguishable from when you breathed and perspired. I had a friend kill himself a couple years back and I'm still running into that motherfucker. He's still an active part in whatever life it is that I'm experiencing. It's more than he's still in our hearts and serves as a bit of icing on an otherwise bland, existential funereal cake. The more people that I lose, the less troubled by death I become. The closer I come to death, the friendlier it seems. Death invites us not to terrorize, but to remind us, none of this is real anyways. Come on in. I love this so much. To quote Rick and Morty, don't run. Nobody exists on purpose. Nobody belongs anywhere. Everybody's gonna die. Come watch TV. That no matter how much you get to know someone, no matter how much you share your life, learn about them, feel as though you are almost the same person, there will always be an infinite gulf between you, who you think they are, and who they really are. You cannot know someone else. You can only know your perception of them, as your experience of that person flows through the filter of your personality, your experiences and memories, your biases and intuitions. You don't know them. You know your conception of them, as your subjectivity of experience makes truly knowing another person completely impossible. We are all perfectly isolated souls, completely separate from everyone else, desperately reaching out to convince ourselves we aren't really alone. Y'all some deep motherfuckers in this thread. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.